Hello friends! Aquarius' informative fluidity is noticeable because the news grows on the trees like mushroom. So many that it's difficult for me to summarize them, but I transmit the main thing about each one of them. Opinion article. Year of the Golden Ox. The sign of the ox represents prosperity. Gold announces the declaration of the gold standard. The ox will fix everything the rat broke. The golden ox looks like the golden calf in the Bible. The changes will not be sudden because the ox is slow. Starts on February 12, 2021 and ends on January 31st, 2022. Vanga prophesied a flu epidemic for 2020, which has come to pass. On March 20th, the problem would be fixed because we would enter the fifth dimension. This matches exactly with the prediction of the Spanish astrologer Eva Lunella. This year, people will begin a gradual return to the countryside and small towns. Vanga prophesied that Europe would suffer an invasion by extremist Muslims. The most positive view would be associated with the finding of a cure for cancer. Let's start. The celebrations for the year of the ox are approaching, which begins on February 12 and ends on January 31 of the next year. 2021 will be dominated by the golden ox, an animal that would come to put order and could fix everything that the rat has destroyed in 2020, according to the predictions of the Chinese horoscope. By its nature, the ox will help to repair some problems that the sign of the rat brought in 2020. The year of the golden ox will be a period marked by order, discipline, effort, work and family, but above all by the prosperity of gold. The changes will not be sudden but gradual, and it must be remembered that this animal is hard-working but slow, although constant and secure. According to Chinese astrology, the sign of the ox represents the prosperity that is reached thanks to hard work and determination. It is also intelligence and confidence, but sometimes it is related to the calm, passivity and nobility of the cow or calf. The ox represents the prosperity that is obtained from hard work. That's why they are usually patient, hard-working, organized people with clear and ambitious goals. It's also related to tranquility, passivity, and nobility. People born under this sign are hard-working, routine, and know how to listen to others. They have ideals and ambitions. Once they make a decision, it is difficult for them to change their mind. Good news. According to Eastern cosmology, this is synonymous with good news and it is associated with positive aspects such as hard work, rightness, security and honesty. Metal is associated with elements of long duration and resistance, which portends a more stable cycle, because gold is a great superconductor that restores all damaged connections. This year, people will begin a gradual return to the countryside and the small towns, as I want to do, looking for fresh air and tranquility, which will favor the use of renewable energy and the environment. Among them is a server. The ox is related to profit and prosperity. So, if all the signs work hard, they will reach the goals they have set for themselves. The Chinese horoscope ensures that oxen are in good health, tend to stay fit and get sick little. However, they can rely too much on their good condition and being addicted to work. They tend to eat badly and at the wrong time, which has consequences. In addition, they are little given to exercise. Speaking of the golden calf, many are surprised to learn that famous central banker Alan Greenspan has been a long time supporter of the gold standard. His track record is clear. Greenspan published an essay in support of the gold standard with unregulated banking, entitled Gold and Economic Freedom. In July 1966, his doctoral thesis is not available at New York University, since it was withdrawn at the request of Greenspan himself. In 1987, when he became chairman of the Federal Reserve, since he would be a financial anarchist, he was still an advocate of the gold standard at the time of his appointment as chairman of the Federal Reserve in 1987. And he has continued to support the gold standard in the time since he left the Fed in 1952, Greenspan met Ayn Rand, writer and creative philosopher of objectivism. Greenspan spent several years in the inner circle of the so-called objectivist collective. Prophecies of Baba Vanga. This blind old woman never gave me a good son, but recently Baba Vanga's prophecies have been linked to New World events. Vangelia Pandeva Dimitrova, known as Baba Vanga or the Nostradamus of the Balkans, was born in Strumica, in the Republic of Macedonia, on January 31st, 1911, and passed away on August 11th, 1996. She began experiencing revelations at the age of 12, after a tornado lifted her and threw her 400 meters into a field, where she was found after several days with her eyes covered in sand and dust. Due to the accident, she was totally blind. From that day, the seer began to have provisions and to hear voices that told her what would happen in the future. The seer made a series of predictions about important events that seem to have come true. Natural disasters for 2021 would be great, according to the seer. Earthquakes are possible all over the world. The planets will be arranged in the order characteristic for increased seismic activity, according to astrologer Svetlana Proskuryanova-Nekrasova. Nekrasova said that Vanga had predicted a flu epidemic for 2020, which appears to have come true. A new prediction was recently revealed by Sergei Kostornov, a friend of Vanga. On March 20, the day of the spring equinox, the problem of the health crisis will not be so urgent, because the Earth will enter the fifth dimension. Kostornov said of the prediction, "This coincides exactly with the prediction of the Spanish astrologer Eva Lunella, who said that the whole problem would begin to be solved as of February 21st. For Europe, Vanga predicted that we would suffer an invasion by extremist Muslims. The latest events, such as the civil war in Syria, the refugee problem, the terrorist attacks in France and Austria in 2020, could be some examples that would make the prediction correct. It is believed that by 2021 it could get worse. In reference to the president, experts in plural deciphered Vanga's prediction announcing Trump as the 45th president, who would be the last president in US history. According to Baba Vanga's predictions, great changes are coming for this 2021 that without a doubt will represent challenges in the midst of the complicated environment on the world stage. Still, the new year also represents a whole range of new opportunities to find a way to get ahead. The most positive vision for 2021 is associated with the finding of a cure for cancer. Headlines of the day. Mike Pompeo claims there will be a smooth transition. David Wilcox says President Trump knows too much. Lin Wood just threatened Judge Roberts, saying he has until 12 p.m. today, Saturday, to resign. Lin Wood states that if Pence is arrested, Pompeo will save the election. Vladimir. I am a Russian. In Russia, we believe in God. We protect our children. We respect our elders. But in the United States, none of these things are done. Poland announces measures to fine social media companies that censor freedom of expression. Poland's Minister of Justice has announced the creation of a new bill that would protect freedom of expression from social media censorship. William Barr has been disloyal since at least 1992. The independent media seems puzzled by the fact that former Attorney General William Barr did virtually nothing worthwhile while working in the Trump administration. The expectation apparently was that Barr would clean up the swamp and create a swamp-free utopia at some point during his tenure. Why would Barr do this? Though when he has been a swamp creature himself since at least 1992, why did Trump repeatedly fill his cabinet with swamp creatures while claiming he was draining it? Events. Nancy Pelosi's home vandalized. Democratic President Nancy Pelosi's home in San Francisco, valued at $5 million, has been vandalized with red paint, a pig's head, and a spray-painted message on $2,000 checks during the battle with Republicans over stimulus payments. Police officers were called into allegations of vandalism on the Speaker of the House property around 3 a.m. on New Year's Day. Christine Pelosi cautions that it is quite likely that some of our favorites are involved in the Epstein case. Christine Pelosi, an official of the Democratic National Committee and daughter of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, warned Saturday night that it's very likely that some of our favorites are involved in the case of financier Jeffrey Epstein. It is up to Mike Pence to judge where a correct election was held. A joint session of Congress will open on January 6, with Vice President Pence presiding as President of the Senate. His power will be full and unappealable. As a President of the Senate, every objection comes directly to him, and he can dismiss any objections out of place or denied. His task will be to fulfill his oath to protect and defend the Constitution and to ensure that the laws are faithfully carried out. Lin Wood says Vice President Mike Pence faces arrest for disloyalty. Attorney Lin Wood, who has made some of the boldest allegations in the election, tweeted Friday that Vice President Mike Pence could face arrest and imprisonment for disloyalty. Wood appeared to be referring to a theory that Pence would have the power to block the election of Joe Biden as president and Kamala Harris as vice president when Congress meets to certify the Electoral College vote on Tuesday, January 6th. Upgrade. Situation update January 1st by Mike Adams. First, more than 140 House Republicans now say they will oppose Biden's electoral vote roll on January 6th. Second, what would happen on January 6th? Three possible outcomes. First, Biden win. Second, delay due to indecision. Third, Trump win. Third point, there is a possibility that the result of January 6th will delay the results of the presidential elections until March 4th. 4. Trump options would be consolidated after the January 6th disloyalty by Congress. Then he would declare that the courts would have failed, Congress would have failed, and the media would have failed. The censorship of a big tech would be disloyalty, and he would be forced to invoke military authority to defend the Republican and possibly return to call elections without cheating. New elections. John F. Kennedy Jr., John Osabin, indicated that the coalition would be planning the election of the new president of the restored republic and government officials in March 2021. The election would be transparent, instantaneous, and would take place under the new and already proven quantum voting system, where citizens could vote using their own computers or mobile phones through a mobile application that some voters already used in the last elections. On September 16th, Jean Decode and Charlie Ward spoke about the quantum financial system as well as the quantum voting system. In that conversation, Jean reported that the non-hackable quantum computer was being watched by a group of 12 very tall beings in fifth density, and that artificial intelligence would not get out of hand because of them. On November 12, 2020, Jean Decode reported that on election night, the president was in a sensitive compartmentalized information facility observing elections in real time because quantum computers work in the moment. Short news. Senate overrules Trump's veto on defense bill. Republicans in the Senate on Friday overruled a president's veto, the first time in nearly 4 years in office that his fellow party members have turned their backs on him, promoting a bill on defense spending against the strong objections of the president. Vatican denies knowledge of 1.8 billion transferred to Australia. The Vatican and the Australian Catholic Church denied knowledge of $1.8 billion worth of transfers that, according to Australia's financial watchdog, were sent from Rome to the oceanic country in the last 7 years. Analysts predict that precious metal price growth will continue in 2021 and silver would see the biggest gains. Experts believe silver could outperform gold in the next 12 months. The positive trend for precious metals would continue into 2021 and silver would see the biggest gains, analysts predict. A new metal monolith appears in the UK on New Year's Day, and someone leaves a message on its surface. The structure was discovered near the town of Salisbury, in the county of Wiltshire. A metallic monolith similar to those previously found in the US, Russia, Spain, and other parts of the world appeared on the New Year's Day near the British city of Salisbury, local media report. Furthermore, it can be seen that on one of the 3 sides of the monolith, covered in frost, an unknown person left a mysterious extraterrestrial message. Happy New Year! 2 volcanoes in the Caribbean, dormant for decades, wake up and begin to expel ash, causing alerts about their possible eruption. These are La Soufrière, located in Saint-Vincent and Grenadines, and Mount Pelée on the island of Martinique. 2 volcanoes in the eastern Caribbean, which lay dormant for decades, recently woke up and began spewing ash, prompting authorities to issue alerts on the island chain of Martinique, Saint-Vincent, and the Grenadines. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, friends.